Well, with families getting together this week, tough conversations are often avoided. But one expert is here to say one conversation to not put off is one about finances. Let's bring in a financial advisor, David Peters, for more on this. David, you're really going to have to sell me on this here because for a lot of folks, they would say perhaps not the most ideal time. So good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Yeah, I think that any conversation about money can sometimes be uncomfortable, but the fact is that I think in a lot of cases that they're necessary, and that the holidays really present kind of a unique opportunity where everyone is together in one place to have those conversations.
I was just going to say it is one of those rare times, and this is a particular conversation where you want all the involved family members, decision makers to be at the table, so to speak. But now, as far as timing, I mean, you don't want to bless the food and then, amen, let's talk about money.
Right.
When would you say you should bring this up?
Well, I think that, you're right. I mean, we don't want to necessarily, kind of maybe jump right in. But at the same time, though, I mean, I think that, there's typically times during the weekend where people are together and we start to think about, the longer term and the more important things that are going on in people's lives. And that's usually a pretty good time to start talking about things like education planning, things like estate planning, and also even tough conversations around holiday budgeting.
Yeah, so the first question that you want to ask is how much money would your family need to get by if someone were to pass? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, so one of the conversations that we want to talk about is maybe around life insurance, especially if there is no life insurance in place for somebody. We want to have that conversation, and we want to talk about what would really be needed from those survivors if that person really were to pass, and to talk about things like how much would it cost to take care of children, remaining family members, maybe if somebody's still in school, making sure that we can cover those costs as well. And
you're also touching on liquid assets and how much would be needed or desired.
Yeah, I mean, we really want to have a conversation around what would really happen, because that's going to be the most productive. And it is uncomfortable, or at least it can be. But at the same time, though, it comes from a position of caring about what is going to go on with family members if you were to pass. And so I think that is really the angle that we want to take is that, this really is a conversation based on the fact that we care about the people that are in our family, and we want to make sure that they're taken care of if something were to happen to us.
Retirement is another point you'll want to touch upon, especially for maybe the parents or the folks who are approaching that age, or even, I don't know, looking at it in the next 20 years.
Yeah, that's always a little bit of a tricky one. I think that, with retirement, sometimes the conversation is about money, but oftentimes what I find is that it's often about lifestyle changes too. I mean, you have somebody who's been working their entire lives, and then all of a sudden work is not a part of their life anymore. And so I think thinking about, having them talk about what does retirement really look like? How are they going to spend their days? What are they going to spend their time doing? I think that those conversations are important, and it can help the person that is getting ready to retire to sort of make that transition a little easier.
We have about 30 seconds here, but I do want to ask you. So you have these conversations, let's say they're productive, let's say there are more questions than answers, right? What's the next actionable step that you take once everybody goes to their respective homes?
Well, I don't know that you're necessarily going to get answers on the first go, so we just want to make sure that we keep having those conversations, and I think that it's important to at least have an initial conversation during the holiday season so that we can have another one maybe the next time everybody's together.
I would assume you would advise maybe have one point person, someone who's following up on this, correct?
I think that that's usually best, and that's usually how you're going to get things done, I think. But again, I think the important part is to just have the conversation and start the conversation, because I think for a lot of folks, that's the hardest part.
Yeah, and these conversations really are inevitable, and the best is to have them proactively. Financial advisor David Peters joining us this morning. Thank you so much, sir, and happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
All right.